Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show. Our guest this week fell in love with country music as a young girl, imitating the styles of Loretta, Patsy, and Waylon. Over the years, she's developed her sound, style, and unique voice. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show, Paige King Johnson. Hey, Paige, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to meet y'all and get to know a little bit about y'all even just before we hopped on here. This is great.
Definitely.
Same here, Paige. Absolutely. We're thrilled to have you and get to know you. And we know our viewers are looking forward to getting to know you as well. So I thought what I would do is start with a very special relationship you had in the early part of your musical journey. And that relationship with your grandfather, it's pretty clear from what I've seen, he was your biggest and proudest fan. So can you tell us about that relationship and the impact it had on you back then?
Yes, well, I tell people all the time that honestly, I may not be doing what I'm doing today if it weren't for him and how much he believed in me from the very beginning because he gifted me my first guitar when I was 10 years old as a Christmas gift. Completely blew my mind that night. Nothing else. I felt bad for all the other people who gave me gifts because it was like that was all I was paying attention to. But he saw how much joy that music brought to me and how much I enjoyed being able to perform for people, really just because I loved how it brought all my favorite people together in one room, even if it was just for 3.5 minutes of me performing whatever song I was trying to play for him. And so he gave me that guitar and encouraged me to start taking lessons and trying to just see where it could take me and what it could do for me. And then just a few months after that, he ended up passing away. And so I've kind of since then taken that as my sign from the Lord or from him or whoever that this was something music was something that I was supposed to take to heart and really kind of see where it would go. And it's really all because of that investment that he made in me so many years ago with that guitar for Christmas.
That's a beautiful thing that he did for you while he was able to, and that you're carrying on that legacy to honor not only your own talent, but to honor him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's there's no money in the world that is worth ever selling that guitar. It's always going to be in my possession if I have anything to do with it.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we also appreciate our first and longest running sponsor of the show, Tom and his team of insurance professionals at the Malin Agency. If world-class customer service and doing business with someone you can trust is important to you, give Tom and his team a call today for all your insurance needs.
So when you first started out playing, you were playing fairs and festivals, and then somehow you transitioned to opening up for really big name, heavy hitting country acts. How did that come about, and who was the first big country star you opened for?
Yeah, well, it did not happen as overnight as it looks on paper. I can promise you that. Um, the first person that I ever opened for, uh, I think one of, I think it might have been a Scotty McCreery show that I played. I think right after I graduated from high school. I got to play a show with Scotty, and he's from a town that's about 15-ish miles from my hometown in North Carolina. And we got to play a show together, and that was one of the coolest moments of like, oh
But
wow.
how did you get that? How did you book that gig?
It was I'm pretty sure it was like a Facebook poll that a local venue was bringing Scotty back to a hometown show, and they asked, who do you want to be the opener? And I had some very gracious friends and family in the area that went and spent days and nights and all the hours of every time to be on Facebook typing my name in there. And that meant a lot to me, not only to be able to share the stage with him, but also to see the support that was coming from people was just, a very surreal moment.
For sure, yeah, because it's one thing if it just kind of happened, but to know that it was the result of getting all that's got to definitely lift you up when you hit that stage.
Absolutely. And it always helps, especially with a show that's that big and the first one of those. It's nice to like see, the first two rows of people that are faces that you know, and it's like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. These are people that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, were you really nervous, Paige, or were you too young and stupid to not be nervous?
There were definitely jitters just because it was the biggest show that I had played at that point in my career. And it was also when I was starting to step out into beginning to play my own original music versus just playing covers like I had done before. So there were jitters, but I've been performing ever since even before I got my first guitar. And so it wasn't so much nerves as just like anxious energy to get out there and be ready to do this thing. And it's still like that to this day. Every new show or bigger show that I play, there's anxiousness because I just want to be out there and I want to be doing it. I don't want to have to wait around for it anymore.
That's wonderful. And I did not mean to imply that you were ever or would ever be stupid.
No, no, I know what you mean. And I was a little bit of both at the time.
Yeah, and there's another phase of your career that I'd be interested in hearing a little bit about, and that's you went to Belmont University, which I wish Belmont University would have been around when I had to choose a college. So what was that experience like, and what did that do for you as an artist?
Oh, it was so great. I mean, it gave a small town kid a reason to move to a big city like Nashville, Tennessee. And I was able to convince my parents a little bit more about the move with, I'm going to college, mom. But it was great. And it was honestly, looking back, one of the best things that I could have done for myself in that moving process. It's opened up so many doors for me, even to this day. And really, I don't think people realize how many hands that are in the music industry have touched Belmont in some sort of way, whether it was they used to be a student, maybe they didn't finish, but they got part of the stuff, or, they were intern there or something like that. Belmont was so great in kind of creating those relationships from the get-go and teaching me the ins and outs of the music industry, which is something that is so valuable to be able to kind of have that leg up against all the other people who may just move to town and try to start getting their hands dirty, just by going in and playing rounds and all the things, which is a way that a lot of people do it and they're so successful. But for me, the Belmont way was the right way for me.
It's interesting that you say that, Paige, because I know sometimes people go for their MFA, like in acting and things like that, and they get a lot of the acting experience and they meet the casting directors and they have showcases and whatnot, but they don't learn about the business.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear you say that you are also trained in the business of music, because we've interviewed a couple of guests like Tony Orlando as a Jay Siegel, who are very, successful artists. And they said if they had to tell their younger self something, that's what they would say. You've got to also learn the business of it. So that said, when you graduate from a performing arts university, what is the process like after graduation?
For me, I feel like it was a little bit easier because it wasn't like I was trying to go out into the world and get a job in the music industry. Because I had many friends in the music business program that were going out and they were getting into the industry side of things. And, that's like getting your resume together and all the things. And thankfully, I was going out and I was starting a small business, which to them kind of sounded very daunting. But to me, I was like, I have all the reins. Like I can make this whatever I want to be. Because I was starting the small business of Paige King Johnson. And okay, now that we've got all this knowledge, how do we work? How do I establish myself as an artist and figure out the branding and also work on the songwriting craft and try to find the right producer that can bring those visions to life and all the things. And for me, I come from an entrepreneurial family. And so that was just like a kid in a candy store. I was like, there's so many options and I have the power to choose from them and I get to make this what I want. Um, and so it was a lot of fun and still is so fun. I mean, I don't think any artist has ever done developing or figuring out the brand or the finding the voice as a songwriter or anything. So it's different every day for me and I love it.
I love that you're so excited about it. Like, to me, that would sound very daunting. Like, I wouldn't know where to begin. And I love that you just innately have that.
Yes, it's very helpful and I am so grateful to have had parents to kind of model that behind. Not that they were in the music industry, but I saw the work and the drive and the creativity and all the things that had to go into making a business successful. And at the end of the day, any artist or musician is a business. And so you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this so that there's longevity in this, so that I can keep doing what I love forever and ever. And I think that's every artist's dream.
Yeah, and Paige, you touched on something a moment ago that I'd like to come back to, and you talked about finding your voice. And that's something I'm always curious about finding out. So, for you personally, was there a moment when you felt that you had kind of found your voice, or is that an ongoing work in progress?
I think any good songwriter would say that, they're never done developing, and you can always get better at anything, whether it's music or sports or being a stay-at-home mom or a teacher or whatever. But I finally started coming into, I'm not going to say so much finding my voice as much so as believing in my voice.
Mm.
When I moved to Nashville. Before that, I was in the mindset of, I'm a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid. What do I have to say that people would want to sit down and listen to? I wasn't as strong in my feelings as Taylor Swift was at that age. And so it took moving to Nashville and realizing, okay, there's a lot of artists here that are writing their own songs. And if you don't try to figure out at least what you want to say to be able to enable to find help to help you write those songs, then you're in trouble. And two, Nashville is such a town that's built on community, especially in the co-writing spaces. And it opens up a lot of doors for a lot of people in different ways that they never would have expected. And so I quickly realized, all right, Paige, if you want to survive here and you want to look back 10 years later and be like, okay, that's what I should have done, she would have told you, start writing. And so when I moved to Nashville was when I started finally putting my pride aside and putting words on paper. And I fell in love with it, and it's one of my favorite parts of this job.
Yeah, and I've got some good news I think that I'd like to share with you. And Rosie and I wanted to touch on a couple of examples or pieces of evidence as to what I'm going to say. And
Okay.
that is, I think you have just come a long way as a writer, because I have to tell you, the first time I heard I Thank God, the lyrics just it blew me away. It's a beautiful melody, a beautiful song, but the message, the words, the lyrics. And then I saw the acoustic version of the video in the church. What inspired you to write that amazing song?
Well, truly, honest to God, first and foremost, my faith. And I think very much so as a musician, because that's my experience, but I think in any day-to-day life where people can get very busy, we can get caught up in the, oh my gosh, if I just had this, then life would be great, or if I could just do that, and then things would be better. And in the music industry, it's always, okay, I did this, now I need to be better, or now I need to get this. And I found myself falling into that pattern. And finally one day I was doing a devotion, and I realized, like, Paige, you have so many things right now. Like, you are sitting in answered prayers that you were asking for 6 months, a year ago, 5 years ago. And so I think in whatever we do, there's so much in our lives that we have that we take for granted every single day. And this song was just kind of a way for me to get things down on paper so that I could see all the things. And it's a drop in the bucket of all the things that I truly do have, but all the things that I have in life that I should be grateful for every single day. And I don't think it's going to hurt any of us to be reminded of that every once in a while. So it was kind of just an effort to bring that spirit of gratitude to everybody's homes or cars or wherever it is that they're listening to the song.
Thank God for the laughter, family and friends. I thank God for the memories that make the time well spent, and for the ones that guide me when I'm feeling lost. I thank God.
Well, mission completed.
Definitely. I love that you said sitting in answered prayers, because we get so ambitious or pressured to be productive and accomplish and get to where we think the result is. And, there's so many songs or great poems that have been written about, John Lennon, life is what happens while you're making other plans or something like that. I think that was the line that he wrote. But it's like we forget to be in the moment and to be grateful, like you said, because if we lost something that was really important to us that we take for granted every day, we'd be like, oh my God, I wasn't grateful for that. You know what I mean? So I think it's wonderful that you wrote that song. It's very poignant.
So glad y'all enjoyed it. That was the purpose of it. So it's doing its job.
Yes,
Definitely.
it is.
I wanted to ask you about, I know you wrote with Pam Tillis and you guys did some videos together that got on CMT. What was that experience like working with her and then watching your own videos?
Insane. I mean, I'm a 90s kid, and so I mean, I grew up watching Pam on the TV on Saturday mornings. And to go from that to now, she's a dear friend of mine. We have worked together on many projects over the last 4 years now. And not only has she been a mentor and a producer and all the things to me, but she's truly become a dear friend. And I always say, like, the big sister in country music that I didn't know I needed. Because she has just shared so many experiences of what it was like for her to be a young woman coming up in this industry, and has shared some things of, hey, this was a hard thing for me, and if you can kind of jump that past go and not have to collect that $200, then that would be great. And so it's really cool to have somebody like that in your corner to help mold and kind of bring sides out of you that you didn't know were there, which she has done a lot of that for me, but also just kind of like be a listening ear of if I've had a bad day or somebody's been mean or whatever, I can just call her and be like, did this happen to you? Is this normal? And she's just a great voice of reason for me.
Yeah, and I can't help but think that she must have seen something in you very special to do the things that you guys have done together over the years, for sure.
Yes, and it just it means a lot to be able to kind of have that confirmation from her, for sure.
Well, before we go, Paige, because I know we're running out of time here, tell us about your new single, Somebody's Gotta Do It.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
It is. I got married a couple of years ago, and I always told people, even before I met my husband, I was like, I'm just not a love song person. I'm not going to do it. And then once I found my person, then I started writing all these love songs. And then, at the beginning of relationships, it's these very serious love songs, and you're like, okay, I need to tell them. But we've been together now over 7 years. We've been married for 2 years. And at this point of life, we're just like having fun together. I was like, we just need a funny love song out there. And I had this song idea in my phone for a while, and I took it to my friends, Terry Jo Box and Scott Sean White. And they're just both amazing writers. I mean, together they've written for people like Lainey Wilson and Cody Johnson and all these people. And so I was like, y'all are gonna know what to do with this idea. And we just kind of let loose and just had fun, and just were silly and all the things. And we were able to come up with this fun song that did have, some love themes to it, but it was just full of sarcasm and lightheartedness and all the things that I think a good relationship should have in them too.
Well, that's a great point. You have to have fun. You can't lose the fun.
No, you can't. And if I don't get one good laugh in a day, I don't let us go to sleep unless we're laughing about something. So.
Oh, I love that. That's great advice. That's great advice. Well, Paige, we wish you all the best. I know it was quick, but we loved meeting you, and we look forward to watching your career unfold. So thank you so much for joining us. And folks, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Well, somebody's gotta watch and mow that yard. In the hot summer sun, no shirt, oh my Lord. And somebody's gotta answer when he says, hey honey, and be right where he spends all his money. Somebody's gotta get wrapped in them arms. I guess I'll step up and be the girl that has to be the center of his whole world. Yeah, it's a tough gig to deal with. Go ahead, sign me up. If he needs loving all night long or something pretty to kiss on, guess I'll be the one to suffer through it. Hey, 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 if somebody's gotta do it, do it. If somebody's gotta do it, do it. Somebody's gotta be why he picks those daisies, why he wants to lay in bed all day, being lazy or crazy. Somebody who's willing when he wants to dance and don't mind a man that's good with his hands. Somebody's gotta help him make those babies. So ladies, I guess I'll step up and be the girl that has to be the center of his whole world. Yeah, it's a tough gig to deal with. Go ahead, sign me up. If he needs loving all night long or something pretty to kiss on, guess I'll be the one to suffer through it. Hey, 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 if somebody's gotta do it, do it. If somebody's gotta do it, do it. I guess I'll step up and be the girl that has to be the center of his whole world. It's a tough gig to deal with. Go ahead, sign me up. If he needs loving all night long or something pretty to kiss on, guess I'll be the one to suffer through it. Hey, 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 guess I'll be the one to suffer through it. Hey, 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 if somebody's gotta do it, do it. If somebody's gotta do it, do it. Well, fine, I'll do it, do it. Okay, I'll do it.
This week's episode has been brought to you by Doherty & Company Insurance Services for all your business and personal insurance needs. Our friends at Tennis Addiction in Exton, PA. And the Malin Agency, where exceeding expectations is how they do business.